A dozen riders have set their sights on the Lone Star out front.
Take your time, get this thing fixed up.
It's time to cowboy up.
117 laps behind.
Oh, trouble, turn 2. It's just a matter of where can Mark Martin finish.
The fuel mileage works, and Kurt Busch will go to victory lane here at Texas.
It's not over yet.
The chase continues.
And the chase will continue here Sunday in the Valley of the Sun side of Phoenix International Raceway. This 1 mile oval has been nicknamed the Jewel of the Desert, but this weekend all eyes will be focused on the duel in the desert because the point standings in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup have really tightened up. That 38th place finish by Jimmie Johnson, he lost 111 points to Mark Martin. You see Gordon gained 80, Kurt Busch 141. So folks, with 2 races to go, Mark Martin stands 73 points back of the reigning and 3-time champion Jimmie Johnson. Dave Burns.
And Doc, Jimmie Johnson knows he can't have what happened last week happen again this week. And part of the reason that last week did happen was a subpar qualifying experience for Jimmie Johnson. He knows that. He qualified outside the top 10, and that's why he got involved in the accident he did. So during first practice today, all 17 laps for this car, per their normal plan, qualifying mock runs to try to get the 48 car into the top 10 or even closer and try to avoid some of the early lap melees like they saw last week at Texas. Vince Welch.
When the Sprint Cup teams were here in April, Mark Martin had the fastest car. He sat on the pole. He led more than 150 laps, and he won the race. Can he do it again this weekend? Well, it certainly should tighten up the points race if indeed he would be able to earn pole position, lead laps, and win the race. He wasn't the fastest car in practice, but I just spoke with crew chief Alan Gustafson. They go out 35th in the qualifying order today. The track temperature should be cooler. The sun may be down a little bit, means the air is a little cooler, and that helps the car out on both fronts. Should be a good qualifying run for Mark Martin in the 5. Doc?
Well, Vince, right together in the point standings and right together in the only practice of the day. Take a look, Jimmie Johnson and Mark Martin, 7th and 8th overall in the practice session. How about a surprise atop the practice speed? Sam Hornish Jr. and Roger Penske Dodge, 133.8 miles per hour. Great effort by Hornish, looking for his very first pole of the year. When we come back, we'll ask our experts, Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie, what they think is going to happen in qualifying and how important is it for Jimmie Johnson to bounce back starting right now and maybe put that car on the front row.
NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying brought to you by Subway. For a limited time, hurry to Subway to enjoy the new low-fat buffalo chicken sub. Subway, eat fresh.
Lots of action to come your way this weekend from here at Phoenix International Raceway. We'll have happy hour for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And then on Sunday, live flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Goodyear here at 2:30 Eastern on ABC. NASCAR Nationwide Series, we could crown a champion here on Saturday if Kyle Busch finishes 7th or better. That coverage beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And we could also crown NHRA champion. Automobile Club of Southern California action qualifying tomorrow and final Sunday at 7 Eastern. NASCAR Now wrapping it all up, or sort of setting the stage on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, we'll wrap it up on Monday with the round table. Two races to go, and the two guys at the top of the standings, well, anything can happen, as it usually does here in the final races of the chase. Take a look. Johnson will clinch a title if he finishes 4th or better in the final 2 races, and Mark Martin could take the points lead here by winning the race, earning the maximum points, and Jimmie Johnson finishing 14th or worse. Guys, that's not a bad finish for Jimmie Johnson, and still Mark Martin could walk away from here as the points leader. Welcome inside our pit studio along with Andy Petrie and Dale Jarrett. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. And, guys, we talked a moment ago, how important is it for Jimmie Johnson now to bounce back from that disappointment at Texas last Sunday?
Yeah, we just heard Jimmie Johnson talking about how he wanted to get back on the racetrack in a healthy car and kind of bounce back from that whole weekend he had last week. And this qualifying session that we're going to have is going to be an opportunity for him to do that and to show what that team is made of. And hopefully for them, they'll be shooting for that pole position.
Yeah, we know how important it is for them to win practice sessions, to run up front, be there qualifying, just everything for the whole weekend to go well for them. But I think they've shown over the years that they probably come back from adversity better than anyone else out here. They always seem to bounce back, lead laps, win races, do things that we kind of come to expect from them. But they've got a tall order this weekend. They picked a very difficult racetrack to have to bounce back from. Even though they still have a healthy point lead, this is a difficult racetrack. A lot of cars finish on the lead lap, so you need to be kind of in control of things, and that starts today by qualifying well.
You know, Jimmie Johnson, the man they call Superman, has won 3 consecutive NASCAR Sprint Cup titles. But, folks, he really, really wants this one because Jimmie Johnson is chasing NASCAR history.
This ain't no rodeo, no dog and pony show, ain't no roller coaster ride, ain't no highway, sure ain't no river, baby, it's just my so-called, just my championship ride.
Moments away from qualifying, getting underway here at Phoenix, and you wonder why is it so important to start up front here? We'll take a look. 3 of the last 5 races, the driver on the pole has won the race, and it was Gordon, Jimmie Johnson, and Mark Martin. Yes, you're right, folks. All 5 of those races were won by drivers for Hendrick Motorsports. Teamwork's important. How about a team that's rising right now in the garage area? Dave.
This afternoon, Kevin, can you get the pole today based on how many cars go later with the cooling track conditions?
Well, I don't think our qualifying draw for track temp is the optimum draw, so I think our Shell Pennzoil Chevy was really good in race trim. We didn't really get a chance to make it an actual qualifying run, so we'll see what we have here and go from there.
You guys had a fairly solid run last week. How much confidence does that give you guys coming into this weekend?
Well, you know, things have really run really well the last few months. You know, we've been caught up in some wrecks and done a few things wrong here and there, but the speed of the cars has been a tremendous turnaround from the beginning of the year, and I feel like we've built on a lot of things that we've been trying to do, and they've all been starting to pay off. So starting to get some finishes out of it, and hopefully we can roll out next year and be strong.
I'm going to ask you this. It just came to my mind. You were our in-race reporter last weekend. What is it like to have the media contact you in the middle of a race?
Well, I don't know. They never contacted me in the middle of the race, so I was wondering about that in-race reporter thing when they put it in your car and don't talk to you. So maybe you should ask your boss that.
So you would prefer that next time we go ahead and bang it out and get a question in there in the middle of the race for you?
I thought that's why we did it.
All right. You know, the good thing about talking to Kevin is whenever you talk to him and you ask him a surprise question like that, gives you an honest answer. Next time he's our in-race reporter, Andy Petrie will have to definitely jump in there, or Dale Jarrett, and ask him that very question. Doc?
We will do that for Kevin Harvick. You know, Kevin Harvick's been very successful here. He's won at Phoenix in all 3 racing divisions, but he's also one of the few drivers but able to win both races here in the same year. He won in April of 2006, driving the 29 car for Richard Childress Racing. And in the fall of that year, he started second, dominated, leading 252 laps. And Kevin Harvick took them both, having to dodge a bit of a bullet there on the restart and beating Jimmie Johnson to the checkered flag. Getting set for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying, we have 46 cars lined up for 43 spots. David Reagan will be the first car to go out. And you heard Kevin Harvick a moment ago referring to the draw, the luck of the draw. And you like a track to be cool. He goes out third. And, guys, it does make a difference when you go out in terms of the line and qualifying.
It does. This track is very temperature sensitive. I see right now we've got a little cloud cover, so the first couple of cars may have the advantage of that, but it doesn't look like it's going to last long. But the late qualifiers, when that sun gets down in the horizon there, it does pick the speed up on the racetrack.
Yeah, and if you're far enough back, you won't have the sun in your eyes as you try to go down into turn 1. That was always, to me, one of the most difficult things here in trying to qualify. You couldn't see your mark, and invariably, I can't speak for everybody, but I would seem to overdrive that corner getting in there. And once you do that and you lock up the brakes, then that kind of throws your whole effort off.
There's a straightaway where they're going to come in where the sun and shade comes across. And you mentioned Mark Martin, by the way, goes out 35th in qualifying. So that is a very, very good draw in terms of him having plenty of grip and speed to maybe put that car on the pole again. It's the same one he put on the pole here in the spring.
Yeah, I like his draw a lot better than Harvick's. Harvick's going out third. and that's what he was referring to. I mean, he would love to trade with Mark if he could.
Yeah, and the guy that was fastest in practice has a good draw also. Sam Hornish Jr. is back in the 24th spot, so the track should be cooled off by then, too, quite a bit more. And so if he indeed has a shot at getting this pole, I would think that that's only going to enhance his effort.
Yeah, he'll have an opportunity to back that practice time up.
David Reagan's best start at Phoenix, as you just saw, came in a spring race here. He had a top 15 qualifying effort, finished 22nd. See what he can do here, first of 2 consecutive laps.
Yeah, what we generally saw in practice was that second lap's going to be a little bit quicker, somewhere between 500ths and 1500ths. It was quicker on the second lap.
Very difficult racetrack here with folks. We talk about how different these tracks are in the 2 ends, and it's a real compromise in terms of the setup.
Yeah, setup and driving style, too. You used a lot of brake getting down into turn 1. You want to get off of it and roll. The exit of turn 2 is very difficult right here. Then you have a dog leg as you're still turning on the back straightaway, and then down into 3. Not as much brake right here, but you really have to let the car roll and get back to the gas hard. You can see David sliding it through the center of the corner right there.
Yeah, but David got a great first lap. He's a couple of tenths faster than his practice time at a 27:10. If he can pick that up a little bit. Now he does slow it down a little bit with that little slip we had.
Like I said, we saw everybody go faster on their second lap.
Well, he had a little slip that second lap. We'll give you another car to prove it.
We could see that change, though, simply because things have cooled down a lot. You've got a lot of grip. And really, that first time could be the better. Your air pressures are there to start with because you've obviously pumped the tires up. And so that could make a difference now if the track has cooled down. Dave?
And checking in with Denny Hamlin right now, who is checking over his race car right now. Did you lose something over there? You all right?
No, it's we were going to tape off the windshield, but I thought it'd be a better idea just to clean it.
Something on the checklist that didn't get done today?
No, we were, I think they were rash and actually making some changes on the car. So, no, but, you know, we had a pretty good car in practice. Our FedEx Crown car was not too bad. Usually we struggle for speed. And, you know, today wasn't too bad. So hopefully we can get somewhere in top 10. If it can stay cloudy, the draw won't hurt us as bad. If it doesn't, you know, we could definitely get hurt here by going this early.
Cloud cover very key down here, and there are some in the area, guys.
There are. We call it the Valley of the Sun. We've had most of a cloud cover a good bit of the day. Eric Darnell out to qualify. Here's the young man that's making only his 6th ever start in a NASCAR Sprint Cup car. And the last time he was at this racetrack, he was driving full-time in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
His first lap was pretty close to what he practiced at, so we'll see if he can pick things up here on his second lap. Looks like he's going to definitely do that. Comes in a 27:23. That's about 2 tenths faster than what he ran earlier today in the practice session.
Best finish this year thus far with this young man for 5 starts in this Ford was 29th at Kansas, getting a chance to get in a Cup car. And boy, the learning curve very steep when you go from just a limited few nationwide starts, and primarily what he's driven most of has been in the Truck Series.
Yeah, and these cars drive so differently, and so it makes it difficult learning curve. And you know, the team has struggled somewhat throughout the year, so it makes it even more difficult.
Well, let's see if we can dial Kevin up on the radio while he's qualifying here. He was talking about not getting a question during the race. Maybe he will next time we do it with him. He might be 3 wide in the middle when we come on and talk to him. But we'll definitely talk to him during the race next time.
I think it shows, and I've had a lot of the guys talk about that they enjoy when they get that opportunity. They enjoy doing it. It gives the fans a different perspective and kind of what they're looking at and what their chances are throughout the day.
See, this first lap is not what Kevin's looking for. He ran it in the corner hard and won. You see there where it was in the green, but gave up a lot on the exit. Give it another shot here. Looks like he catches just a little bit of that apron and one.
Yeah, sometimes these guys will get that left front down the apron. It kind of de-wedges the car, which makes it turn a little bit better there. So he might have been fighting a situation that his car was a little tighter off of that corner, and he wanted to do that on his second lap. This is definitely a better lap.
A lot better lap.
Yeah, he ran a 27.3 in practice. Whoa!
Wow, he got all there was there.
Right there against it. It should be quicker, and it is. 27.08, and right now, Kevin.
Too loose on the exit there. You heard him talking about.
Yeah. And let's go down and visit with David Reagan. Vince.
David, a lot of talk about the sun, how it might affect the track. Did you notice any difference between what you had in practice compared to what you had in that initial qualifying run?
Well, our UPS Ford, we're kind of lucky because the sun's behind the clouds, but hopefully that sun will come on out and get the racetrack just steamy hot, and all those other guys will slow down a little bit. We made a few changes. Our UPS Ford's a little better than it was in practice, but going out early here in a late afternoon qualifying session always hurts a little bit, but hopefully we can work on our car for tomorrow.
David Reagan, Doc.
Here's Brian Vickers, the first of our chase contenders to go out and make an attempt to qualify. Brian was 15th quickest in that only practice session we had today earlier in the early afternoon. 27:10 was his best lap.
See Brian really drive it down into turn 3. Car wiggle a little bit there. You'll see a lot of cars do that throughout this qualifying session. Have to carry a lot of speed in. As you get on the brakes just a little bit, that'll upset the car. Pretty good lap for Brian. 27:13 on that first one. See, he's really way down off the underneath the yellow line there. Shows his car looked like it was turning well to do that. Not sure that's exactly where you want to be, but we'll see.
And a little quicker coming out of 3 and 4. He may have picked it up. If he can hold on, he will possibly get himself right now in the top 2. And how about number 1 right now for Brian Vickers?
First car in the 26-second bracket at 26.93.
Let's go down and visit with Ryan Newman. Dave.
Yep, Ryan Newman standing by. And big news for you guys today. Big announcements with the Army for next year.
Yeah, the U.S. Army is re-signed for both the NHRA and the NASCAR group, so we're excited about that. Obviously, with Veterans Day this past week and all the things that we've done this year, it's an honor to drive this race car, and look forward to next year for sure.
Did it pick you up a few hundreds in qualifying?
I hope so. Our car was pretty good. We spent a lot of time on race trim, and we spent 2 runs in qualifying trim, and I think that we have a pretty good car. I think it's going to take that perfect lap on that second lap to really get the pole.
Well, he's done it here before. He's got a handful of poles at this track, guys.
Yeah, he's a 4-time pole winner here. And here's the 07 car of Casey Mears. And you saw a list earlier of drivers that are still uncertain about what's going to happen next year. He's one of them. So Casey trying to be able to finish the year on a high note, maybe get a pole, or maybe even get to victory lane with a 07 car.
They've really performed pretty well here lately. Some of the finishes don't show exactly what these guys have been doing, but the entire RCR organization has. But in particular, Casey Mears has done a really good job driving this race car.
And Richard Childress Racing making a lot of moves right now in this part of the season to get poised for next year. They've moved some crew members and crew chiefs around on these cars, preparing for next year. And Casey's still just trying to get all he can here this year. But, man, what a great lap he's got going right now. If he can hold on to this.
He got in there really hard. You could hear him get on the chip down into turn 3. You just barely hear it. That means he got off of turn 2 good, and that translates into the pole so far.
What a great lap by Casey Mears, 26.860.
That's the fastest lap run today.
10-4, man. Good lap. 26.86. First lap was the 19. Good job, man. P1.
Let's go down to Vince.
With Kevin Harvick, and we got to tell you, first of all, Kevin, Andy and DJ are really excited about now the fact that they're going to be able to talk to you actually during racing sometime. I wondered maybe if they were trying to talk to you during that moment it looked like you had coming out of turn 4 on that qualifying run. What happened there?
I just got really loose. Our shell Pennzoil Chevy's driven really good in race trim, but that's not going to wind up very good. Just like you say, got really loose up off, but they're more than welcome to talk. They just got to push the button.
You're doing the triple this weekend. You've got the truck race tonight, Nationwide tomorrow, Cup on Sunday. What kind of challenge is that for you?
Well, it's all a matter of how much you're enthused about a particular racetrack. I enjoy racing here. I grew up racing here, so it's one of those places where it's not that big a deal and always seem to run good, so that makes it a lot easier.
Kevin Harvick, we'll keep an eye on him all weekend long, Doc.
Indeed, he's awfully good here. How about this guy on the track right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr.? He's a 2-time winner here in the Cup car. And right now, that first lap is the slowest of the 6 that have gone out so far.
Okay, he catches a little of that apron, though. Let's see what he can do this lap. He's definitely in the green there in turn 1. Falls just a little off of that coming down the backstretch.
Can pick up a lot, though, here on this second lap. We saw Casey Mears pick up 0.3 of a second on his second lap. See if Junior's able to get that much. Got a good run off of turn 4 right now.
See if he can pick it up. This is a car that he started in the mid-pack and came all the way to the top 5 at New Hampshire with, and right now he puts himself on the outside of row 1.
Yeah, that's a 0.4 pickup right there. It's a nice effort.
How strong is the Hendrick Motorsports team when it comes to success at this racetrack? Well, folks, how about these guys for victories? 3 for Jimmie Johnson, 2 each for Martin and Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon once. And these guys are very good on the 1 mile oval here in the desert.
Yeah, they know this racetrack.
DJ, you commented about how certain drivers like flat racetracks, and this is one. It's a driver that really seems to excel on tracks like this. Denny Hamlin, see what he can do and go out and maybe probably put his Toyota in the front row.
Yeah, I watched Denny here for a couple of years now, and he really is just smooth around these type racetracks. He's good with the brake pedal, he's good with the gas pedal, and that's what you have to be, smooth with both of them. If you get, if you try to get a little too much brake, drive it too far in, you get the car upset. If you try to get back to the gas a little too hard at the wrong part of the racetrack, then you can hurt yourself there too. But Denny does a great job.
What I think Denny Hamlin does the best on these flat racetracks is how he gets off the brake early. You know, you have to use a lot of brake getting in the corner with these cars, but he is really good at getting off the brake as early as possible and letting his car roll through the middle of the corner. And I think that is one of the reasons that he is so good on a flat racetrack.
He won the pole here, guys, the very first time he came here in 2005, which shouldn't surprise anyone. As you see crew chief Mike Ford watching on, we'll see if Denny can pick it up as others have done. He was the slowest car of the 7 first time by. I got to believe he'll be a lot quicker.
Yep, look, it's going the right way.
Coming out of 3 and 4.
It's going to be close, but I believe he's got it.
And indeed he does, Andy.
82, 26.82.
These guys are making some big pickups from that first to the second lap. I don't know that we expected to see quite that much, but I guess they're dialing their air pressures in that way, knowing that that second lap is going to be the money lap for them. Vince?
Casey Mears is currently second on the chart. I guess the common thought that the track is going to get quicker, but did you get all of it out of there that you thought you had capable?
You know, and with these cars, it's so difficult to, you know, it's so easy to overdrive the car. So right now, I want to say I probably could have got a little bit more out of it, but if I would have went out there and tried to get a little more, it might not have been there. But just real proud of everybody on the Jack Daniels Chevrolet. There's been a lot of things that have gone on the last few weeks, and we're struggling there in practice and found something towards the end. They got the car quite a bit faster, so you know, regardless, it should be a decent starting spot for us, and you know, hopefully have a decent starting spot would be big for us because we haven't had too many of them this year. I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Good luck. Thanks, Casey. Casey Mears, Doc.
From one Casey to another, we have Casey Kane on the racetrack. Thank you, Vince. Casey was second quickest in the only practice section of the day. Ran a 26.93 late in that session. Does not have a pole thus far this year in the Richard Petty Motorsports Dodge, but 6th overall of the 8 cars that have gone lap 1. And if he picks up like everybody else does.
If he picks up 4/10, we got another pole sitting here.
Yeah, we got something
Maybe
here.
even close to a track record.
Yeah, you can see that tape on their windshield. We heard Denny Hamlin talking about they were possibly doing that. These guys have to get that tape down lower just so you can see going into turn 1. Might have another pole winner here so far.
An 80 gets it by a couple of hundreds.
Every car getting a little bit quicker, more shadows on the racetrack.
2680, buddy. 2680.
That's almost the way it was in practice. It seemed like everybody kept picking up. Finally, the practice was over, and Sam Hornish was on top.
If it works out with the last guy to go out, 46, it'll be Bobby Labonte. He'll be our pole sitter.
Yeah, by a lot. He'll set a track record.
We talk about rookie drivers that have run so well here over the years, and Casey Kane, reflective of this, top 5 finishes by rookies, including 2 rookies that have won the race here. Tony Stewart picked up his 2nd career win. He had won, by the way, at Richmond back in September of '99. Kyle Busch won here as a rookie. Look at Boyer, Hamlin, Casey Kane. That's a pretty impressive group there.
Yeah, if I had a team, I'd put any one of those guys in for sure, rookie or not. They've shown they can do it, and here's another pretty good rookie.
Could this be the 3rd rookie to win it here at Phoenix? He has been good, and everything he has driven here over the years. In fact, Joey Logano has won a race here, driving a Joe Gibbs car here in the Camping World West Series.
Oh, looked really good coming off of turn 4 right there.
Only one car has run slower on their 2nd lap. That was the first qualifier, David Reagan.
Struggled qualifying here in the spring with this car. He started 31st, but ran in the top 20 much of the day and finished 21st. See if he can pick it up, and he does. He gets up to 6th overall for Joey Logano. 9 cars have gone, and right now it is Casey Kane and Denny Hamlin on the front row here at Phoenix. Qualifying ongoing here at Phoenix. Reed Sorensen, 10th of the 10 cars that have gone out. He's going to be disappointed in that run. He picked it up on his second lap, but only good enough for a 27.308 second lap. Here's the Biff. Greg Biffle going out. See if he can possibly put a Ford on the front row. Right now we have a Dodge and a Toyota.
Yeah, he was 4th quick in practice in the 26-second bracket, so 26.95 is what he ran.
See that car pretty loose right there in the center of the corner.
Had a 5th place finish here back in April. Biffle coming off a top 10 run at Texas last week. Back-to-back top 10s. Actually finished 4th at Talladega and 8th at Texas.
Yeah, he picked up a lot right there coming off turn 2. He's in the green down the backstretch. Got a great lap going.
Greg Biffle does not have a win or a pole this year, and he would like to get both this weekend. Got a good run going.
Yeah,
close.
A little bit wide there off of turn 4, and that hurt him just a little bit. That'll be 3rd quickest.
Let's go down and talk to Dale Earnhardt Jr. Vince.
Yeah, Dale Jr., one of those that jumped considerably from the first lap to the second lap, and you guys improved from practice again today. How encouraged are you with the direction your team's headed?
I'm real encouraged. The team's doing good. We'd have liked to have been a little faster. There's some guys that have about a 10th or 2 on us this morning, but you know, and we had the draw shouldn't hurt us too bad because it's pretty overcast, pretty cool, so the track should be about the same the whole qualifying. But we'd have liked to have been a little faster. And we'll see what we can do tomorrow, make the car a better race car. It's probably going to put us just inside the top 20 in qualifying, so we have a little bit of work to do. But we'll see what kind of race car we can make out of it.
He can race it. He's won here before, Doc.
Indeed, he has a 2-time winner here. And, boy, he disappointment last week after running so well all day at Texas to have the thing cut off on him on pit road with a few laps to go.
Yeah, that's a shame. They've had some good runs here lately. They just don't have the finishes. And we're talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. to show for it, but they have to be encouraged by their progress of being a lot more consistent and consistently up towards the front.
Michael Waltrip out there, first time by. Andy 10th overall, but that's the throwaway lap, I guess.
Not a bad first lap. And you can see right now he's tracking 3rd quick now. He's got a great lap going here.
Possibly the last time Michael will race here. Remember, he's going to run a limited schedule next year because Martin Truex Jr. will be in the 56 car.
Look here now, he's going to have a shot.
Michael coming back, losing a little bit out of turn 4, but he will up that speed and right now be shown 5th overall.
Still in the 2680s. Yeah, 87 with a 2680 on the pole.
Let's go ahead and talk to one of the possible pole contenders, Dave.
And he was 3rd quick in practice earlier today, and a 2680 right now on the board. Can you beat it?
I don't know. That's going to be tough. Track's cooling off a little bit, so it's probably getting a little bit of grip in it. But, you know, Dave and all the guys on his pedigree Camry have done a good job this week. We just have to work on it here and see if we can't bust a lap off. But, you know, we're more ready for tomorrow and what comes on Sunday.
You had a quick conversation with Jimmy Johnson. Are you offering him speed secrets at this track?
No, he's got plenty. Actually, I need some from him. I was just saying, you know, that last week was a bummer deal for him. You know, hate to see that happen to, you know, to ruin a championship. But there's plenty of other opportunities for him to excel. And it's another week for those guys. So also told him that hopefully we're working in the right direction where maybe we can keep up with them and beat them next year.
There you go. You always got to get in their head just a little bit, guys.
Thank you, Dave. Here's Ryan Newman, who is a 4-time pole winner here. No one has won as many poles as the Rocket Man has. Made his very first Cup start here at this racetrack back in 2000.
Yeah, that first lap is a 27:20. That's a pretty good first lap. We've seen a few be a little bit quicker than that, but we've also seen some pretty big pickups. Ryan's doesn't look like he's going to be. Looks like he's going to be more in the somewhere 10th and a half to 2/10 range.
Still not challenging the 9-car. Casey Kane right now our pole sitter, and Ryan Newman will pick it up. And DJ, you're exactly right. Picked it up to about 8th position. And what about What about our provisional pole sitter, Casey Kane? Vince?
Yeah, just chatting with Casey about why it picks up so much between that first lap and the second lap, and you had an interesting response to that.
Yeah, I think it's just tire pressure probably and how much each car has. Everybody's different on their tire pressure, so if it comes in quicker, the first lap compared to the second, you'll be maybe a tenth off or something. But usually the second lap here is quicker for us, and we're about 3/10 there. So it was a good lap for our Budweiser Dodge. I had sun in 3 and 4, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of guys that don't as this qualifying session goes. So hopefully they don't beat us, but I think they might.
Is this one of those places where you recognize as a driver when you're rolling out for your qualifying whether the sun is shining or whether you got cloud cover?
Yeah, and they've built these suites down in turn 1 and 2, so that takes 1 and 2 sun away usually because it's late afternoon, but 3 and 4 always is, seems like there's sun when we're on the track, but it's all right. It's the way it goes, and hopefully 80 will hold up in the top 10.
So far, so good. Casey Kane on top.
Thank you very much, Vince. Carl Edwards out on the racetrack here. Let's see what Carl can do. Cousin Carl has never won at Phoenix. He has, though, set on the pole back in the fall of 2007. Better on his second lap, right there, just flirting with the lap that Casey Kane pulled in, and now in 3 and 4 he'll lose some time.
Yeah, he lost it right there in the center of the corner a little bit, and you can see Carl really fighting the wheel coming out of turn 4. You get up a little bit higher, and it really makes you work hard. He picks it up a little bit to a 27.02. That'll be 9th quickest.
Casey Kane was talking about the suites there in turns 1 and 2, and the sun gets down behind him. You see, looking down from the Monument Mountain, you can see how there's shade entering turn 1 almost all the way coming around off of turn 2.
Yeah, I can tell you as a driver, you wish they had put a high rise there because it could have helped out even more at times. And it will become a problem Sunday afternoon in the race also.
Well, let's see what Jimmy Johnson can do with the shade and the sun, and he has been awfully good here. 3 times the last 4 races he has won here at Phoenix International Raceway.
Maybe tire pressure with them. Looks like Jimmy's really struggling to try to get some grip, especially with the front tires right there through turns 3 and 4.
Jimmy was 7th in the only practice session earlier today, and as you saw, he is the only driver to win here at Phoenix and go on and win the championship in the same year. He did it back in 07 and 08.
He might have got that front end where he wants it, though, because this is going to be the fastest first lap I believe we've seen.
Yeah, in the 26-second bracket on the first lap. We've not seen that yet. 26.94.
Well, the car cut really good there in the middle of turn 1.
Yeah, he's got a good lap going so far. Going the right direction now, the tracker is.
See what he can do off of turn 4.
Trying to bounce back from disappointment in Texas.
Close.
Can he get there? Can he put it on the pole thus far? And yes, he does. Thus far in qualifying, Superman. And a super second lap for Jimmy Johnson.
26.94 in your first lap, 26.77 on your second. That's P1 right now.
And now this lap time that he's put on the board, 26.77, is faster than the April pole was. It was 26.90. So these cars faster this time than they were in the spring.
Well, will Jimmy Johnson be the one starting on the pole on Sunday? Will be able to hang on to those points he's trying to hang on to get to chase NASCAR history? We'll answer those questions and more with our live coverage starting at 2:30 Eastern Time. The NASCAR Sprint Cup chase for the championship presented by Goodyear here at Phoenix, 2:30 Eastern, beginning with NASCAR Countdown on ABC. Right now we've had 15 cars go out to attempt to qualify. It is Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin, and Greg Biffle. 4 chase contenders are the 4 fastest, and then Casey Mears right now is 5th. Here's Brad Keselowski in the car he will drive full-time in 2010, the Penske Dodge.
At 27.11 on his first lap. He can pick up at 4/10. That'd put him up there pretty well. Like some of the guys have. I don't know if he can pick up 4/10 on this second lap.
He'd like up there way good if he can do that. Just a couple of tenths would give him a good solid starting spot.
4 wins this year for Brad in the Nationwide Series, 6 career victories. He is 3rd in the Nationwide points, and he picks it up a little bit, guys.
Yeah, not quite a tenth of a second, about 8/100ths is what he picked up, so that moves him up to the 11th spot at a 27.03.
Let's go down and visit with the Biff. Vince.
Greg Biffle's had back-to-back top 10s, a couple of good runs in consecutive weeks, and the car's been good this weekend as well. How was your qualifying attempt? Happy with that or not?
I don't know if I'm perfectly happy. I just coming to the green, I was way too high in turn 3 and 4. Just didn't have enough heat in the tires probably, but great lap for us. I felt like I left some out there, at least a 10th or so. I think I could have been in the 70s for sure, but hopefully that'll get us in the top 10 for a start spot. And I like this racetrack, so pretty happy.
Looks to keep it rolling. Dave?
It's interestingly, Sam Hornish will have to beat a 77. That's a 26.77 if he's going to get the pole. Did you use up your best lap earlier in practice, or have you gotten one more?
Well, I sure hope we didn't use it up. The car's been really good since we unloaded. I love running here at Phoenix. It's always been really good to me. Won my first IndyCar race here. Got my first top 10 in a Cup car here, along with a lot of other things. So, we just want to really go out there, have a solid day today, and make sure that we get a good top 10 starting spot. We know that we can run well in the race. We came from 35th to 9th, I think it was, here in the spring. So hopefully the Mobile One Dodge will have something for them. But the big thing is we just got to make sure we get a good starting spot. It doesn't necessarily have to be the pole.
A lot of confidence for Sam at this track. Vince?
Jimmie Johnson, he's been a pole winner here before, currently on top right now. How was it?
Not bad. It wasn't as much grip as I had hoped for. So I'm not sure. Obviously, our early draw is going to be, a little bit of a hindrance, but to still produce a lap like that, be on top right now, be ahead of the 9 and the 11 guys and 16 that were ahead of us in practice. This is a good sign, but a couple of my teammates I'm racing for the points are going late, and we'll just see how things turn out. But I feel like it should be in the top 5.
After the frustration of last week, how happy are you to just be at Phoenix, huh?
It felt nice to drive the car today and really shake off what happened last week. Car's been great. We've worked on a couple things, and it felt nice to go out there right now and just really blister a lap and hustle the car around and do something with this energy and these frustrations I've had over the last 7 days, or 5 days. So excited to have a good lap for the Slows Impala. We'll see where it ends up.
Thanks. Jimmie Johnson, currently the top spot.
A 26.77 is what they're shooting at. Let's see what the 00 here David Rudman can do. Rudman already a 2-time pole winner here in 2009.
Still have to believe, even though I've heard a number of the guys comment that had cloud cover to start with, I think things are still going to continue to cool down. It hasn't been an overly hot day, but the temperature is supposed to cool off quite a bit, and I think that's only going to be an advantage as these guys go out later.
Rudman's first lap is 14th quickest. He should pick it up next time by. Got to believe they'll easily get him in the top 10. You talk about cooling off. We spoke with Sam Hornish a moment ago. He's still 7 or 8 cars away from going. Would it make that big a difference? Would it just a little bit of a temperature change for him?
Man, doesn't take much to get you some grip here and pick you up. Literally a 10th of a second over what you might have done. So Rudman picks that up to the 7th spot.
Right now, it's Jimmie Johnson, our points leader, atop the pylon as the provisional pole sitter here at Phoenix. Qualifying ongoing here at Phoenix International Raceway. John Andretti Chevy right now 19th. He's the slowest of the cars that have gone out to qualify. So we're not quite halfway done. 46 cars here. Right now it's Jimmie Johnson and Casey Kane on the front row. Denny Hamlin and Greg Biffle in row 2. Here is Kyle Busch, who was very, very good in the practice session. Kyle was 3rd quickest, and exactly what you guys are talking about, DJ, how the track temperature is dropping.
Yeah, and that's important. A lot more than the air temperature. That track goes down. You just get more grip. There's not a lot of grip to be had. This is a worn-out racing surface. Somebody like Kyle Busch, who was fast in practice, could really take advantage of that.
Kyle won a pole here back in the spring of 2006. He's also won a race here back as a rookie. And talk about wanting to bounce back. He won the truck race, the nationwide race, and dominated the Cup race last week at Texas, only to have run out of gas with 2.5 laps to go.
Okay, pretty good first lap. You see now he's tracking in the green.
Oh, he's about to be tracking into the outside barrier a little bit there of turn 2. That's what you have to do if you're going to run fast. Going to see how he gets back to the throttle here. It looks like he's a little high on the racetrack.
A little bit of lost time trying to get into 4. Can he get it back? Coming off 4, right there at it, and no, he will not do it. He's 5th right now overall of the 20 cars that have gone. Dave.
And Jeff Gordon still looking at a 26.77 as the fast time with his teammate here. 3 times you've been on the pole, What is the most difficult thing about the qualifying lap here at Phoenix?
The sun. The sun going into one just totally blinds you. You know, we're trying a little bit different approach today. Last time we were here, we covered the whole windshield. I had tape on my visor, dark visor, and it still didn't do me any good. So I looked around for some different marks on the track in the last practice, and just going to, if I have to use my hand, I'll use my hand. But no, I mean, it's just hitting your marks. Most of it's just getting lucky and just getting in there to the right spot and guessing correctly and hitting your marks. And we've done it that way before too. But DuPont Chevrolet's been good today, you know, and we think we got the balance good. Just got to hit a lap. You know, we just haven't had to hit the lap all day. We've hit one end or the other, but we've got to hit the whole lap. And hopefully we can do it when it counts.
Okay, so if you're not completely covering up and not completely polarizing the car, what are you doing? Nothing?
I'm letting my eyes adjust to the brightness of the sun. That's what I'm going to do. You know, if you put a dark shield on, it helps you in the sun, but then it's so shaded down here, it takes time for your eyes to adjust to the shade. So, you know, I'm just going to go with it and then really just look at some different marks that I've found in practice and see if that works.
All right, good luck, Jeff. Something different from Jeff Gordon today, guys.
Indeed, something different for A.J. Allmendinger in a Ford last week at Talladega. He'll be in a Ford for the remainder of the year. Of course, getting ready for the merger with Yates and full-time Ford next year. Good run for A.J.
He lost a little bit of time on that late exit of 4 right there. A good solid effort up in 9th.
Backing up that top 10 run last week at Texas, he finished 10th. So still Casey Kane and Jimmy Johnson second and first right now in qualifying. A lot more to go. Sam Hornish just a few cars away. He was the quickest car in practice, and way down the line is Mark Martin. He'll be the last of the cars that are guaranteed a starting spot. Tony Stewart going out to qualify. Tony coming off that 6th place finish last week, gained a ton of points in the standings. Tony right now 5th overall in the chase standings. Has never sat on a pole here, but has won a race here at Phoenix.
He was in the top 10 in practice. Get a good gauge on where the racetrack is right now. They're in a 27.06 in practice.
I dare say that no other driver in the garage area has as many laps on this racetrack as this guy. And about anything that has wheels, he's driven it. From USAC to IndyCar to Nationwide to Sprint Cup, he's been in it.
I'd say the only one that comes close, and he's not in the garage area this week, would be Ken Schrader. He's driven about every kind of car here also.
I totally agree. Let's see. First time by for Tony Stewart is 16th overall.
That's faster than lap. Yeah, that's faster than his fastest lap in practice. His first lap was, and then tracking in the green.
So he gets off the gas just a little bit early right there. See if he can make it up on the exit now.
Yeah, right here is where Jimmy Johnson really came off the corner good and carried a lot of speed. And it's going to be tough for anybody to beat him. Right there's where they're going to have to do it, right off turn 4.
And Tony will pick it up to 6th overall, just as you said, Andy, losing that little bit coming off 4, but it looked like he might have had a shot at Jimmy Johnson. We invite you to join us for coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Happy Hour at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And, of course, live coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup next to the last race of the season, presented by Goodyear here at Phoenix, Sunday, 2:30 Eastern Time on ABC. Tomorrow, NASCAR Nationwide Series action, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll see if Kyle Busch can claim the championship there. We will crown a champion in the NHRA action. Automobile Club of Southern California qualifying in finals tomorrow 10:30, Sunday at 7 Eastern Time, both on ESPN2. And NASCAR Now will set the stage Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, for what we're going to see on race day and just exactly how it might unfold here as the chase winds down. Here's the 17 car out to qualify, Matt Kenseth.
See, Matt had a really wide entry into turn 3. Never did really get the car back down. It's a 27.40 on his first lap. Qualifying hasn't been their strong suit this year. Only 5 top 10 starts in 2009.
Matt's a former winner at this racetrack back in 2002. Didn't qualify well, as you might expect, Matt. He normally doesn't qualify toward the front, but he started 28th. He came all the way and led 55 laps to get the win that day. Right now, the 17 car is 17th. Let's go down and visit with Mark Martin. Dave.
And he was 8th fastest for his mock runs today in qualifying. Mark, you were on the pole in the spring. We know you're good here. What do you think about so far a 26.77 is the time you have to beat?
Pretty fast. We did get a good draw. We didn't have the fastest car in practice. The car was working good, though. You know, when it's this close, it comes down to who gets the really incredible lap. And I've got a lot of those this year, so wouldn't mind getting another one today.
How difficult is it, Mark, to piece together a perfect lap here at Phoenix?
Well, it's the same as everywhere else. If you want it to be better than everybody else's, you got to have some luck.
All right, we'll see how lucky he is. Sam Hornish on the track now, guys.
Remember, Sam was the best car in practice. He ran a 26.88 in practice. His best start of his career was 4th this year at Darlington. See if he can improve on that.
Let's see if he can do it now. This second lap is going to be the one. Let's see if he's got it in it.
Off by quite a bit on that first
lap.
lap.
First lap was not fast. It's 27.32.
Drivers talking about how much grip this track really had now compared to when they practiced earlier. So
carrying a lot of speed this second lap, though.
And you see, Casey Kane was another Dodge driver that talked about the air pressure run. I think that may be something that those guys share. Had it going pretty good. Down in the middle of 3, kind of got hurt a little bit. Picked it back up here.
And he's going to be disappointed. He wanted to be on the pole, or at least the front row right now. 9th overall for Sam Hornish Jr.
He basically just backed up his practice time of a 26.88.
And most of the time, that's not too bad if you can go out there and do what you did in practice. But in this case, there's a lot of guys that have picked it up.
But possibly another top 10 start for Sam Hornish has really come home here in his second full year as a Sprint Cup driver. Here's the 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya, going out to see what he can do. Juan Pablo has never had a top 10 finish here, but he hadn't had a top 10 finish a lot of tracks this year until he came to the second part of the season.
Yeah, he's kind of rewritten his stats this year, and this is another new race car for this team. As a matter of fact, they had a car that they ran at Indianapolis that was so fast, and I talked to the team today, and they said that they've made so many gains with their new cars that now that car is obsolete. They're not even going to run it anymore.
Yeah, that's the car they had at Texas last week that they've led all those laps with at Indy, finished second at Pocono with. But the new cars have been the way to go for this team. Montoya was 6th in practice. He ran a 26.97.
That lap's about a 10th slower than that. But we've seen some really big pickups here.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of cars beat Jimmy Johnson in turn 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 was where he was really strong. See if Montoya's got anything for Jimmy off turn 4.
And he's going in the wrong direction, guys. He's not going to be able to battle Jimmy Johnson. In fact, he's not going to get in the top 10. Right now, Montoya is 12th overall. 25 cars are gone, and it is the champion who right now is our provisional pole sitter. Folks, check this out. Martin Truex, a 26.643 second lap. First time out, not his second lap, folks. First time out, coming out of turn 3 and 4 down to take the white flag in qualifying. But, folks, that is the fastest lap thus far in qualifying.
And this is only the second car to run faster on his first lap.
Pedal that thing, man. Come on, that's all you got.
Bono says, is that all you got? But it didn't take but one lap for Martin Truex to put it on the pole.
He ran 2 laps, but his first lap was the fastest. It's man, that's hard to believe. He ran 26.60 on the first lap.
Yeah, for those guys that thought a 77 was hard to beat, now they're looking at a 64 if they're going to go out there. Just over a 10th of a second quicker. Here's Jeff Burton, who was good in practice.
Absolutely a 2-time winner here at Phoenix, and we cannot say enough about the job Jeff Burton did last week at Texas. A backup car, started 42nd, came all the way and finished 9th in a car that only ran 1 lap on the track, and that was actually qualifying. He didn't even get to have any more practice in the car.
Going to be a little disappointed with this qualifying run, though. 24th quickest so far.
There's another driver and team that qualifying never has been their strong suit. Does a great job of working his way through traffic. He's going to have to do that again on Sunday.
Let's go down and visit with Martin Truex Jr. Vince.
Martin and Bono just having a conversation right now and a good laugh. Are you surprised? 26.64?
Yeah, a little.
You can be honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was a good lap. We were pretty good in practice. We made 2 qualifying runs. On our second one, we went the wrong way, so we kind of had, had an idea of what to do here. But this is one of those weird tracks where you go out and run practice, and then you go out to qualify, and you expect you're going to pick up a half a second somehow. And usually you do. You're not sure how you did it, but the car was really good right there. I was happy with it. I wasn't sure it was that fast, though.
You were actually faster on the first lap than you were the second lap.
Yeah, surprising, isn't it? We've always been that way here, and I'm not sure why. We've done that here before, so strange, but it felt good.
Don't try to figure it out. It worked. Doc.
What a lap there for the one car, Martin Truex Jr. Marcus Ambrose on the track. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the whole key to Martin's success was we saw him earlier having his dog right in there with him on going to qualifying, so I think that's key. He was getting
having
some
a dog on the back of the golf
some
cart.
secrets. Yeah, this business is about what you see. The rest of the drivers will have their dog with them next week for qualifying, I'll guarantee.
Look what Marcus Ambrose did. Get into turn 1 and 2 there. He was way faster than Martin Truex, but paid the price off the corner.
By the way, Marcus is going to bring a kangaroo. He's from Australia, so
that'd be interesting. We'll definitely have that on camera, I'm pretty sure.
All right, thus far the surprises in qualifying. Martin Truex Jr. has pulled off a lap, folks, 26.643. He's right now top of speed charts. Jimmy Johnson is second, Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin, and Greg Biffle. That's the top 5. Still got lots of good cars to go. Boyer, Gordon, Kurt Busch, Mark Martin will be all those guys trying to shoot for what this guy's put on the board.
And when you see somebody put a lap up like that, it gives you even more confidence as, hey, there must be some really good grip out there. But you go out there and give it just a little bit of extra. You get off that brake a little bit sooner and try to roll a little faster and then try to pick the throttle up a little bit sooner.
Andy, if you're watching these cars, air pressure, are you thinking air pressure?
Oh, yeah, air pressure is everything here, and especially any short track where you're trying to get that optimum grip. That air pressure being just right at the right time is so important. See Paul Menard now qualifying. He's won a Southwest Tour late model race here a few years back. So this is one of his better tracks.
And what we saw with Truex was both of his laps were fast enough for the pole at this point in time. So it wasn't like they put a lot of extra air maybe to just get that, thinking that first lap was going to be their best. The car hung on for him in that second lap too.
Yeah, he was only 0.04 of a second or so slower on his second lap than his first lap, but pretty impressive.
See what Menard can do when he comes by the second time, and
I was just bragging on him. Here he is, 28th. He just picked up a 10.5 on the second lap.
Let's visit with David Gilliland. Dave.
Yeah, Doc, and just previewing the number of cars that don't have a guaranteed starting spot here in the field today. David Gilliland, one of those in James Finch's 09 car. The good news is you were fastest out of all of them, so you're pretty confident about making the show?
Yeah, we are. Our Miccosukee Chevrolet was really, really good when we unloaded, and all the guys, James Finch and all the guys over there do a great job each and every week. So real proud to have the opportunity, and it's an important weekend for me as well as a driver, just because of the uncertainty of my plans for next year and don't really have anything going. So this is where I want to be, and it's races and opportunities like this with fast cars that make good things happen.
Is it hard not to put too much pressure on yourself with such good equipment and this opportunity?
Yeah, it is, but I know in my heart I do my best each and every week, and it's sometimes you'll come in and have a bad pit stop, and then the finish might not reflect it, but I can sleep good at night knowing that I do my best every week.
All right, David Gilliland, a good shoe with a good chance here at Phoenix.
Indeed he does, and we're watching the 7 car of Robbie Gordon, and news came out today that Robbie Gordon only has sponsorship as of right now for 8 races in 2010. It was announced early in the year that his primary sponsor here, Jim Beam, would not return to the sport next year. So Robbie was saying that, and the reason that's happening, he says, because some of the multi-car teams are taking less money than they've been taking in the past, and that leaves the independents like him with not a lot of places to look in terms of smaller sponsorships.
Well, Robbie picks it up on that second lap, and what he's talking about, that moves him up to 17th. But you're having to go out now with these teams and sell smaller dollar sponsorships. So you're going to see 3, 4, maybe even 5 different sponsors on some of your big name teams. I mean, we've seen Carl Edwards have that situation. A lot of the Roush teams doing that type of thing. And Robbie feels that kind of thing is hurting his efforts. But he's going to have to kind of get out and kind of go do the same things. Take lesser dollars, but maybe have it spread among a lot more sponsors out there if he's going to try to make this work.
And Robbie has run full-time in this series since 2006, and his ambitions are again to run full-time next year. But right now they're sort of beating the bushes, trying to get more and more races sponsored before the season opening Daytona 500. Here's the reigning NASCAR Nationwide Series champion, Clint Boyer, in the 33 car. And we talked about how things are really picking up for the RCR teams. Clint and Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton, all three RCR cars, those three cars in particular, finishing in the top 10 last week at Texas.
Well, we've certainly seen a marked improvement. Andy, you talk all the time about these people building new cars and how much they learn, and this is certainly an organization we've seen that happening with.
Yeah, they've definitely turned the corner, and I know that they're working on a lot of things for next year to try to really turn this thing around, and you're starting to see it already. I mean, those last few races have been a lot better for this team.
Richard Childress said this week in a radio interview that they really went in the wrong direction last December and January, and they actually built like 30 race cars, 10 per team, and they realized they had to get to change these cars and cut the front ends off and totally redoing them, and they started doing that in August, about the time of the Brickyard. They're just now starting to catch up.
Clint picks it up on his second lap there to the 11th quickest time at a 26.89. When you make changes like that, it's not as easy to go back on something. As I said, you build a lot of cars like that.
Yeah, you get committed to a program, and it's just hard to turn that around in a short amount of time. You do that, and you have to go ahead and run these cars, and then you redesign it, and you got to come back and start building them again. It takes a while.
Here's the four-time champion, Jeff Gordon, who gained 80 points last week by virtue of finishing 13th, and Jimmy Johnson finishing 38th. We told you that there's a scenario that Jeff Gordon could leave here as the points leader. Here's how it works. He wins a race, gets maximum points, 195, and Johnson finishes 27th or worse. Martin finishes 5th or worse, and we would head to Homestead with this guy, Jeff Gordon, as the points leader.
So that's all he has to do, leave with the point lead.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, now we know.
Hey, you know what? Anything can happen here in the Valley of the Sun. Let's see what Gordon can do. He's a former winner here at Phoenix International Raceway, three-time pole sitter.
Okay, one thing I'm seeing on this graphic is in the middle of 1 and 2, turns 1 and 2, almost every car has beat Martin Truex at that point in the racetrack. Right here we see Jeff Gordon doing just that, but Martin Truex was so fast coming off the corner now that it's been difficult for cars to track him down that back straightaway.
Yeah, they're gaining a lot getting into and through the center of that corner, but they're really paying the price on the exit. Looked like maybe Martin got in a little bit easier, but really hammered the throttle coming out of the corner.
Jeff Gordon's second lap will pick it up to 12th. I know he was hoping to be able to start in the first couple of rows or maybe on the pole here, but he right now being shown 12th overall. Next car to roll out will be the 2 car, the Blue Deuce. Last week's winner at Texas, who has had some success here in the past at Phoenix International Raceway. 2005, and you see Kurt Busch. They're driving the 97 car for Jack Roush, backing it up and doing a bit of an unusual burnout. He's been very good here the last couple of times, guys. He finished 3rd here in the spring after qualifying 3rd, and last fall in this race he finished 2nd in what was a very good green-white checker duel with Jimmy Johnson.
See there once again just what Andy was pointing out. They got a little advantage on the Truex time right in the center of turns 1 and 2, but they're losing it off of 2 and down the back straightaway. This qualifying is so tight.
Yeah, it is tight. There's a lot of 80s, 26 80s on the board.
Yeah, from 3rd all the way back to 13th. All ran in from a 26.80 to an 89.
And you see that trend right there again, but it looks like Kurt Busch able to hold just a little more speed down the back straightaway than most of them. Yeah, got a good lap going right here.
Yeah, he gets off of turn 4.
It's going to be close, guys. Look here. It's going the right way.
Here he comes, coming back right there at it for Truex, and no, he's fading right there at the line.
He is 2nd.
Wow. Great lap for Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch held on to win at Texas a week ago. Who will it be coming up this Sunday here at Phoenix International Raceway? 2 races left in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, and our coverage begins here at Phoenix, presented by Goodyear at 2:30 Eastern Time on ABC, starting with NASCAR Countdown. Jimmy Johnson's won 3 of the last 4s. Mark Martin won here in the spring. Will that points title or points margin shrink? Jamie McMurray going out to qualify. He's our winner at Talladega. A lot of speculation that Jamie may be announced in the next few days or a week or so as the driver who will get in that 1 car next year and take over the vacated place that Martin Truex will leave. McMurray on the track, and why don't we visit with Jeff Gordon in the on pit road?
Well, Doc, we know he didn't get everything he wanted out of that lap. Jeff, what did happen on the lap?
I felt like I got everything out of it. Just we just don't have the speed. I mean, we were 10th, in practice, and we're like 13th or 14th right now. I don't know, we're missing something. I felt like that was a really solid lap. That's by far the best lap I put in today, and the sun was working with us, so. I might have been able to get into 1 a little bit deeper, but I don't think I could have hit it much better anywhere else. So obviously we got a little bit of speed to find.
Jimmy hopped out of his car relieved in regard to the championship. Does this concern you at all as you chase him down?
We haven't been focused on those guys for a long time.
I actually meant your lap, Jeff. I didn't say that question well. Does your lap now and how the car is running concern you regarding the championship?
It just concerns me today for qualifying. We want to qualify better. Track position is important. A pit stall, a better pit stall would be great. Those are all positives to the weekend. But you know what? To be honest with you, when you're 112 points out of the championship, you're not really focused on anything other than just trying to win the race and get the best finish that you can. The points, a lot has to happen in those points before we're a factor in the championship. But we got to make sure we do our job. Today we missed a little bit. Tomorrow we'll go back to work on it. Hopefully we hit it on Sunday.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Hey, you mentioned it. They got practice tomorrow morning to work on that race car.
Right now he's 13th on the grid. How about this guy here? 73 points back. Back in April, he set on the pole and dominated here at Phoenix to get his first win, snapping a 97 race winless streak.
Yeah, what Jeff Gordon's saying right there, when you're behind and you're chasing somebody for the championship, all you can do is keep your head down and try to do the best job you can. And when the race is over, look up and see where you are. You can't really chase points per se during the race.
But the only team that can do that is the team that's in front. They're the only ones that kind of gauge off of what others, and that allows them to kind of run the race that they want to. Jimmy Johnson and his team, even though they lost a huge part of their points lead last week, they are still in control of things, and they're the only one that control really their destiny.
See, Mark Martin got a lot better second lap going, but nowhere near what we saw Martin Truex do.
Yeah, not gonna battle Truex for the pole, and wants to be able to get up there near Jimmy Johnson, who right now is 3rd. And Martin will be just getting the top 10 right now, 10th overall. So right now, Martin Truex is on the provisional pole. Kurt Busch is 2nd, Jimmy Johnson 3rd, and Mark Martin just clocks in there 10th overall. Let's show you where the chasers have qualified, because all the chasers have now qualified as we get ready to do the go or go homers. And you see Jimmy Johnson right now 3rd overall. Back in a moment. Michael McDowell, the first of the cars that have to qualify on time and speed. He clocks in 32nd overall. His second lap, a 27.216 second lap. And we'll see if he can make it in the field. There are 11 cars in this group, and only 8 will be able to start on Sunday. Here's Kevin Conway, one of the 3 drivers that's hoping to do triple duty on the NASCAR Camping World Trucks, the Nationwide car, and the Sprint Cup car. This is the car that's owned by Kevin Buckler. Same car teammate he would be if he makes the field with Bobby Labonte.
Yes, tall order to come in here. You haven't driven these cars. Kevin's been running in the Nationwide series. These things drive totally different. He did have to go practice the Nationwide car since he's been in this, so it's a real adjustment to getting back, knowing what exactly you have to do.
And he had to get in and qualify the truck in the NASCAR Camping World Truck, so now getting back, I mean, it is a pretty tall order to get in one of these cars when you haven't had much lap time on the track.
Yeah, he's going to have to pick it up quite a bit, I believe, if he's going to get into these one of these 8 positions. First lap at a 27.60.
And he does pick it up. Right now puts him 34th overall. As we'll see if that will be good enough to possibly get him in. Let's visit with Kurt Busch. Vince.
Kurt, happy with that second place qualifying effort so far. We were talking in the garage before qualifying, and you said you weren't quite sure what you had. Did you find something mystically between practice and qualifying, or what was the good effort there?
Just bottom line, we ended up putting the wrong spring in the car in qualifying practice. So we found that after we did our runs. So that's where I felt like we didn't know what we had. And honestly, the lap was so loose that I felt like I was wasting a lot of time. But sometimes when you're right on that edge, you put down a good lap for Phoenix. So we're real happy with that. Maybe some of the momentum from last week carried over to today, because second place was definitely better than what we expected.
How close is it between being right up to that thin line or being a little too aggressive and driving it and going across that line?
Some tracks can do that. New Hampshire's notorious for that, Richmond, and here at Phoenix, you can definitely hurt yourself with speed by overdriving it. And I felt like I was just right on that edge, but it felt more like a 10th place lap instead of second. But great lap for the Miller Lite Dodge. Team's clicking and things are feeling good, and I feel like our race package is a little better.
Keep an eye on the 2-car on Sunday.
Should be good. Has been the last 2 times he's been here. We're watching on the racetrack Tony Raines go out and qualify. We mentioned during the practice show that his owner, Brad Jenkins, planning on running 2 cars full-time in 2010. Still looking at overall sponsorship, and still somewhat of a lottery as to who the drivers will be. Tony Raines, 34th overall, which puts him second quickest among the cars that have gone out to qualify that have to make it on time and speed. McDowell, 32nd, Raines, 34th, and Kevin Conway, 35th.
Looks like this part of qualifying is going to be as close as it was and as tight as it was up there at the front of the pack.
Here's Dave Blaney going out, World of Outlaws champion. Now Cup Series veteran. See if he can get this Toyota in.
He didn't qualify for the race last week at Texas, so this team really putting effort in to get into this race.
It's one of the few times this year that Dave hasn't been able to get this car qualified for a race.
It's got to be tough, DJ, to knowing that you come so far. And the whole idea is to be able to get here and get the car qualified. And you're in a pretty tight box in terms of what you can change on the race car at the racetrack.
Yeah, it certainly makes it difficult. Dave's adjusted to everything that they've done this year and trying to qualify. First lap is going to be
a little work
27.52. He's going to have to pick it up. He's going to feel comfortable about his qualifying effort here.
You'd like to see that line stay green. That means he'll lock in. So far, so good.
And if he can beat that 36, which looks like he's going to do, he will lock in. Yes, a great effort. And that will lock him into the field for Sunday. Good driving by Dave Blaney.
Yeah, good driving, and another perfect example. We heard a number of times it mentioned about air pressure, and it looked like that they knew that second lap was going to be the one that they would go after. They had the air pressure set up right. As that built up, then Dave got a lot more grip and put in a nice lap.
Picked up almost a half a second on that second lap.
Kurt Busch signing some autographs. He told me earlier today this was the very first track he ever saw a live NASCAR Sprint Cup race. His dad brought him here when he was 13 years old, and he got to go down in the pits, and he stood and held Rusty Wallace's signboard and got his photograph taken beside the 2-car, never knowing that years later he'd be driving
that's
the
a
car.
good story.
Yeah.
I remember my very first race, too, and it was made a major impression on me.
Here's the reigning Rookie of the Year, Regan Smith, driving the 78 car. We'll see what he can do.
You can see we're still comparing him to that 33rd spot of Michael McDowell. That time was a 27:21 that Michael ran.
This team going to run a full schedule next year in the Sprint Cup Series.
And based in Denver, Colorado, Barney Visser, the owner. And yeah, folks, I said Denver. You know, most of them are based in the Carolinas or Georgia, but this one is way out west.
Yeah, you talk about Denver. There's a Denver, North Carolina, which is close to where a lot of teams are from. And when you tell them that this team's from Denver, they think North Carolina, but nope, it's Denver, Colorado, believe it or not.
He's got a good lap going here. Really drove it off into turn 3, got it to stick.
Very close to locking himself in, and not quite there. But that will allow the 36 car McDowell to be guaranteed a spot on Sunday. Let's visit with Mark Martin. Dave.
And, Doc, it was not to be for the spring pole sitter here today. Mark, what was the issue with the handling of the car in qualifying?
It just didn't hook up. I mean, you know, I told myself before I went out there, just let the car do the work. You know, don't. And I went in, I came down a backstretch, and I went into turn 3, and I figured out right now, I better not let the car do the work because it ain't going to do much here. It was just all over the place, and I'm not really sure why. I needed a breathtakingly spectacular lap, and I got a below average lap. So, you know, above average lap would have put us 3rd or 4th, and we would be feeling really good. We're really close right there, but I was just a little sloppy. The car didn't do it, so I had to force the car to do it, and when you do that, you're a little less predictable about where you're going to land and how you're going to aim and all that stuff, and I was just aimed up a little wrong at a couple of spots.
Mark, you know that a championship for you guys means that you have to be breathtakingly spectacular in the races. Does this qualifying effort concern you at all for Sunday?
Well, no, I mean, it's rarely going to be as easy as it was for us last time here. I mean, we were the heat here in practice, we felt like, in the heat in the race. The car today wasn't the heat, you know, it was okay. But this is a different race. It's a daytime race, which I think will pose an additional challenge for us because I think it'll be slicker and it may be more difficult for us. And so far, the car has been a little bit more cantankerous, you know, about just working and, you know, getting angled up just right and all those things. And we'll have some time, you know, a couple hours tomorrow to work on that, and hopefully we'll get it. But we're doing everything we can do, man, and we're digging and we're doing good. So not going to hang my head. If I'd have got a better lap, we'd be you know, ahead of half the guys that are ahead of us right there because it's only 1/100th for each spot. So it was a good effort. We gave it our best, and that's what we'll do Sunday.
All right, thanks, Mark. Doc?
Right now, he's outside row number 5 and will start 10th on Sunday. Mark feeling pretty comfortable about where he's going to start and possibly what might happen here on Sunday afternoon.
She do it? Ashley Forcewood is trying to become the first female to win a funny car championship. To do it, she has to go through that man, her brother-in-law and teammate, on Saturday and Sunday at Pomona.
Max Pappas on the racetrack getting ready to qualify. The 87 of Joe Nemechek is qualified and will be in the show on Sunday. Right now, front row Joe is scheduled to start 32nd. He is in. Dave Blaney is in. Michael McDowell is in. And David Gilliland. Those are the 4 cars thus far that have guaranteed themselves starting spots among this group of 11 and have to get in on time or speed.
Yeah, Max Pappas is going to have to stand on the gas if he's going to get in. He was the slowest car of the qualifiers on that first lap. Looks like he's got a good lap going here, though. If he can keep it going. It's going the right way.
Ooh, a little loose off of turn 4,
but he does a good job. Great job qualifying. 22nd. Locks himself in. Fastest car of the go or go home.
Absolutely. What a job by Max Pappas. And he did what you said, Andy. He stood the gas.
Gas it up.
Lap. Max trying to make his 15th start here in 2009. It'll be his 17th start in his career. So right now, guys, a bit of a surprise in qualifying. Martin Truex Jr., not only the fact that he went out and put his car on the pole, possibly his 3rd pole of the year, but the fact that he went out and did it in the very first lap of qualifying.
Yeah, there's not a single car in the top 25 that did that, and that's just incredible that he could run that fast on that first lap, not pick up any on the second. But great job. That one car did it. The whole team did a great job qualifying.
Yeah, we heard Martin talk about that. That's kind of been what they've done here in the past, and they knew to rely on that, so they adjusted their air pressures to that. But one thing he'll be trying to reverse every time that he's qualified in the top 5 this year, his average finish is 25th. So they're going to try to reverse reverse that fortune and see if they can, once they start up front here this weekend, finish a little more towards the front.
Yeah, my stats guy just gave me a note here, Doc, says that if this holds up for these two cars starting on the front row, it's the first time that cars 1 and 2 have started first and second.
That's right. Martin Truex Jr., number 1, and Kurt Busch, number 2. You're talking about Truex. Now, remember, last time he was on a pole was at Atlanta, and he did lead the most laps, led 68 laps, only to fade late. So maybe he's hoping that will not happen. Let's go down and talk with David Gilliland. Vince.
Talk with David Gilliland here. Talk with David Gilliland. 28th, but you're in. And how was it? Did you feel like you had a good run?
Yeah, I mean, our first lap was really good. Second lap got loose coming off of turn 4 there and lost a bunch of time. So I'm kind of disappointed with that for sure. I think we got a better race car than that, and hopefully I think Sunday will show it for sure. So just a little disappointed with our qualifying there. It should have been better. Like I said, just got a little loose and had to wait on the throttle.
You talked with Dave Burns prior to your qualifying run about understanding the importance of having a good run here this weekend. What are the nerves like? Do you feel any of those during that qualifying run?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's crazy. I mean, it's hard to explain. I mean, I've been a go or go home car, all year, and you never get used to it. I mean, it's nothing. You just can't get used to it. I mean, you don't sleep good Thursday nights when you go to do it. I mean, one little mistake and you'll go home and won't be racing. So definitely a lot on the line, and hopefully looking forward to getting into a situation where we're not put ourselves in that situation every week. So hopefully something like that will happen soon.
Congratulations on getting in. Nice job.
Here's another rookie on the racetrack, Scott Speed, who was the highest finishing rookie last week at Texas. For the 9th time this year, he was the highest finishing rookie in Cup racing. Let's see what he can do here on the 1 Mile Oval in Phoenix.
Yeah, a pretty decent lap on that first lap. He'll need to pick it up.
He's going to have to pick it up, I think, to make it. He's only 2 cars after him, but he's sitting right there on the edge with that 27-29. He'll need to run that a little bit quicker. Looks like he's going to do it this lap.
Coming out of 4, well, you can see the glare. He's looking over the top of his car as he comes out of 4 and heads back down the straightaway. And he will indeed pick it up and guarantee himself a starting spot here on Sunday. Well, all 3 of the contending rookies for the Robustus Rookie of the Year standings are qualified now for Sunday. We'll show you that there's a 36-point separation between Speed and Logano. Scott Speed's best finish was 5th at Talladega back in the spring. Logano, of course, the win at New Hampshire also in the spring. And let's visit with Max Pappas. Vince.
Yeah, he's happy, and there's no doubt about it when Max Pappas is happy, because it's ear to ear all the time. How good does it feel to pull off that run, fastest of the go-or-go homers?
I'm so excited. The Geico Toyota was fantastic, and I want to say hi to my family. They are not here. I miss you guys a lot, and I follow my instinct. Booty told me go out there and attack. The grip level is going to be higher, and we ran about 6/10 faster than what I ever run so far. And with the help of God and my dad upstairs, it was a great day. I'm so happy. You don't know what it means for us. After missing Texas, we were really, it was really difficult. I came over here, fought hard, a great engine from Toyota, great Geico car, and here we are.
I was just talking with David Gilliland, and we was talking about the pressure that you guys feel week to week. Can you put that in perspective for those at home that quite frankly, the household names don't have to deal with that week in, week out?
Basically, you guys need to understand that you're out there alone in the car. You know that you got 20 seconds to make it happen, and you have to use all your energy, because it's enough that you go like this further and you're gonna be out. But as well, you can't be on the conservative side. So, it's definitely, very good for me. I'm learning a lot, but at the same time, it's a pressure that I'm looking forward the day's gonna be off.
Max Pappas, well done. Thanks, Max. Doc?
Don't you just love the enthusiasm and the energy of a Max Pappas? I mean, he absolutely is just thrilled to be here.
He is. Look at him. He is such a loving person. You see, he's just genuinely happy to be part of this. Look at him. That's cool. He's a neat guy, man.
And it's hard for me to believe that someone nicknamed Mad Max, you'd have to convince them to attack the racetrack. All right, here's the 71 car, Bobby Labonte, who would have a former champions or past champions provisional. Let's see what he can do here in this car. Kevin Buckler on Chevrolet. We are told there will be a big announcement here tomorrow morning about 11 a.m. local time of the sponsorship and driver for this car for Kevin Buckler in 2010.
They've been performing without a lot of sponsorship this year. They've had some moderate success throughout the year. So it'll be good that Kevin Buckler and this team are going to be able to get the dollars that you need to work with.
At times, we've seen this car be extremely fast, and Bobby Labonte's given it some great rides. Looks like this is probably not going to be one of their better qualifying efforts. I think a track similar to this, it was New Hampshire. He qualified in the top 10.
Yeah, he started 8th in New Hampshire in the 70 car, the car they had given this weekend to Kevin Conway to drive.
Still a great lap for Bobby. He's the fastest of the cars that were not locked in the top 35, even though he was guaranteed a spot by being a past champion.
Yeah, they had a 10th place finish. His best finish in the 71 car this year came at 10th at Talladega just a few weeks ago. So Bobby's been around a while, won the 2000 championship for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and so we talk about consecutive starts. And right behind Jeff Gordon is Bobby Labonte, 578 consecutive starts. Look at the all-time leader Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, Bobby gave Jeff Gordon a one-race head start. Has been chasing him ever since.
Well, congratulations now are in order for the driver of the one car, Martin Truex Jr. His third pole of the year at Daytona, at Atlanta, and now here at Phoenix. We'll come back and look at more at his celebration in a moment. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, and Max Pappas still signing autographs and celebrating the fact that he had just an outstanding qualifying effort driving his Toyota and had attacked the racetrack. And right now, Max in that 13 car will start here on Sunday in 23rd position. But on the pole, his third pole of 2009, the fourth pole of his career, Martin Truex Jr.
Very happy with his run. You've had some good runs here at Phoenix lately, but first your crew chief, Bono, Kevin Mannion, and Brian Patty, the other crew chief in the team, of course, Cruz, Juan Pablo Montoya's car, they've got a bet each week. And so he's probably even happier that you're on the pole than you are. Can you explain what that story and the bet that they have going each week?
Well, you know, today is the first day I've ever heard of it. So, heck, if I knew he had to buy coffee that many times this year, I'd probably give him a loan. But luckily, we got Starbucks on the car today, and we can get free coffee. So,
so whichever team out-qualified the other, the guy starting further back had to buy the coffee. Is that right?
Well, I think it was overall throughout the weekend. So obviously, the 42s finished ahead of us a whole bunch this year. So Bono's bank account's a little negative between that and the penalties he's got this year. He's not doing so good, but he did great today. So I'm happy.
Yeah, you guys certainly had a great qualifying run. The drive off turn 2, as we looked at the tracker from qualifier to qualifier, seemed like that's where you had the advantage. Where did that come from? Was that earlier in the corner?
Yeah, it's all backed up to the entry. You know, it's I was telling you earlier that I did the same thing here in the spring and drove in too deep, and I think we qualified 25th. So this is one of those places where there's a real fine line. If you don't drive in hard enough, you can't get off the corner, and if you drive it in too hard, you can't get off the corner. So I just hit it right, and our car was really good. And I think the guys, I was watching the broadcast, and the guys were saying that they couldn't believe it was on the first lap, but I think the second was fast enough for the pole, too. I ain't sure.
Well done. Martin Truex Jr., he'll start from the top spot on Sunday.
And he's exactly right. The second lap was quick enough to be on the pole. By the way, he mentioned the penalty. And the penalty was the fact that after a post-race inspection last week, Martin Truex's car was too low, and NASCAR levied a $50,000 fine to crew chief Kevin Mannion and put him on probation through December 31st. 50 owner points and driver points for Teresa Earnhardt and Martin Truex Jr. But that was last week. This week, this number 1 team is on the pole, and here's how they start on Sunday. Truex and Kurt Busch in row 1. Look at Jimmy Johnson right there inside of row 2.
Yeah, a lot of chasers here in the top 10. Also 7 of the top 10. Mark Martin back there in 10th spot. He'll have to drive a little harder than he did from the pole here back in the spring.
Sam Hornish backs up his practice time, but it's good enough for 12th.
Jeff Gordon is there. Allmendinger, second start in a Ford for Richard Petty Motorsports. Dale Earnhardt Jr. about where he qualified in New Hampshire with this same car and drove it all the way to the top 5 early in that race.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte with a good effort there in 20th spot also.
There's Max Pappas starting inside row 12.
Right beside Ryan Newman and right in front of Carl Edwards. How about that for Max? Kevin Harvick coming off that fifth place finish at Texas. No matter where he starts, Kevin Harvick is always good at this racetrack. He's won in all 3 major NASCAR divisions here.
Yeah, we see Jeff Burton back there in 36, but he'll be coming forward all day Sunday. He'll probably have a chance to run this car at least up into the top 10, if not further.
Final cars to start, Paul Menard, John Andretti, and Tony Raines getting in, making it 43 cars. The guys that will not make it, the 78 car, did make it Regan Smith, the 70 of Kevin Conway, and the 02 of Brandon Ash. Let's go down and visit with Bobby Labonte. Dave.
And standing by and in a lighthearted mood is Bobby Labonte, because he made the show once again, and that makes every race this year, and 3 in a row with the 71 car. Any nerves at all? You qualified 20th. It was a pretty good run.
Yeah, I mean, the first lap, I locked up the left front. I probably should have more rear brake in it, and Slugger and the guys did a great job. And, you know, we're really excited about, you know, the car, the way we unloaded this morning in race trim. It's the first time I've been able to unload with race trim with these guys all year. So we did that, and, you know, we made a couple runs, felt really good about it. And, you know, still got some work to do, obviously, but, you know, excited about our chances. You know, if we keep our head on straight tomorrow, have a good day there, and then maybe to roll into Sunday and be okay.
Okay, knowing what you know as a driver who has as much experience as you do, and knowing what these guys have for resources and their newness in the sport, what do you get done tomorrow morning in practice time? How hard can you go with these guys?
Well, we can go fairly hard. I mean, you know, we also got to be careful, too. I mean, we don't have a lot. There's not a lot of stuff in the truck to work with as far as in the top gate, you know what I mean? It's
like the backup car?
Exactly, yeah. So we got to be a little bit careful there. So anyway, you know, I wish we could have qualified a little bit better here today. But tomorrow, obviously, you know, in race trim, you know, we just want to get our car turning really good. And these guys have been able to do that for me this year, the few times that I've run it. So hopefully we can get that worked out tomorrow.
312 laps here is relatively short miles-wise. Does it race longer than that, Bobby?
You know, it's not like some of the races we go to, you know, that are endurance, more of an endurance race. So, I mean, it does go by pretty fast. It's still a good enough distance that, you know, you still got to pace yourself or make sure you know, keep your stuff together for all the race. But it does go by faster than a lot of places that we go to. It's a fun racetrack. I love coming out here, and, you know, I think these guys will give me a great car, and looking forward to that.
All right, we'll have fun watching Bobby Labonte in the 71 car tomorrow, guys.
9 top 10 finishes here at Phoenix. He's been very good here over the years. Well, qualifying his history, and Martin Truex will officially autograph the pole flag as he picks up his 3rd pole of the year and 4th of his career. And back in the garage area, they will begin the changeover now from qualifying to race day setup. And we'll talk about what exactly they do and why it's important to make the changes now and not tomorrow morning in just a moment. Welcome back to the Valley of the Setting Sun here at Phoenix International Raceway, qualifying his history. And now back in the garage area, a lot of work going on with these crews now, changing the cars over from what they've been dialed in to run 2 laps to be able to run 500 kilometers, 312 laps here on Sunday. Guys, let's what are the biggest changes you'll make to a car here from qualifying to race day at Phoenix?
Yeah, they're making, you see right here, the 48 team's changing the axles that are going in the rear end housing. They'll put new ones in there just to, you know, just for durability. Those things take a lot of stress, especially on short tracks. So they'll change that stuff. You see all kinds of things going. They change the weight distribution. They change the springs. They change basically the whole setup from qualifying to race. There's a lot of different things that they do, and you see each member has their own little assigned areas that they work on.
Yeah, they'll be adding hoses and fans for the brakes. Pretty large amount of brakes that you use at this racetrack, especially with this car. So all of that stuff that they didn't need for qualifying efforts, they'll be adding that for practice tomorrow.
We talk about this track being so flat and such a challenge for crews. 11 degrees of banking, turns 1 and 2 pretty tight, and very wide sweeping in turns 3 and 4, only 9 degrees. And we keep hearing these guys talk about building in adjustability for the car. How do you do that?
Well, what you do is a lot of the springs, you can put these rubber inserts in there that'll stiffen the springs up, and you can have that where you can pull them out, or you can actually add some. So you can change the spring rates during the race. You want to get your car kind of balanced with the front and rear, so you've got everything kind of the middle of the adjustments. You wouldn't want to have your car working well with your track bar, say, all the way down or all the way up where you can't go anywhere with it. You want to try to get it in the middle of the road so you can go up or down depending on what the track conditions are doing. And then, you know, that's what you have when you say adjustability. You just don't want to have a car that only really is kind of numb to adjustments in one direction. You want to make sure you can go either way.
Yeah, and that 9 degrees of banking you're talking about over in 3 and 4, I'm still trying to find that. I've been out here a lot of times, and it may be up there against the wall where I tried not to venture, but that is a very flat corner, and I think that presents as a big challenge here for these drivers and teams to get your cars right there. And that was the one place I always wanted my car to turn the very best. I felt like if I could get it through that corner, I could kind of handle turns 1 and 2 on my own as a driver.
We talk about how drivers who have all this experience that keep coming here year after year after year have trouble getting around this racetrack. What does a rookie think? Why don't we go down and talk to a rookie, Joey Legato?
Yeah, we were just kind of chuckling. Joey qualified 31st here in April, and I said, well, a little bit of improvement, 27. He said he can't even find the silver lining in that. What can you find from the qualifying run you had today?
Well, at least we know the Home Depot Toyota is better in race trim. It felt like we made about 4 race runs earlier today, and we were pretty good with those. So our qualifying package wasn't really good, and kind of after practice we look at some things and noticed my line's a little bit different in 1 and 2 than most. So I brought down my line entry into 1, and hopefully that worked. And there's a lot more bumps down there, and the bumps got the nose bouncing and ended up blocking up the left front and kind of setting us up the racetrack. So it's one of those things you wish you can take it back and change it up a little bit, but I'm sure everyone says the same thing. So it is what it is at this point. You go to sleep and you work on this thing tomorrow for Sunday.
A lot of the veterans even talk about the nuances and the characteristics of this racetrack, and there's a lot of them out there in this 1 mile track. But from a rookie standpoint, do you feel like there's a big learning curve with this racetrack?
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty slick racetrack, and you're working on getting your run off the corner and turning. And one thing I felt like we did have kind of under control was getting off the corner. We got off the corner decent. Just we got to figure out how to get through 1 and 2. 3 and 4 seems like most of the cars are closer. I feel like we're pretty good over there. I just feel like our speeds in 1 and 2, and but to figure out a couple little things. The nationwide line doesn't work too good in the Cup cars.
No, it doesn't. Hopefully they'll rub on it over the course of the next day or so and be good on Sunday. Thanks, Joey. Doc?
Joey Legato, a rookie, an impressive and talented rookie. He's won in so many different series and been very successful. It's no reason, no surprise to see him running well here on a challenging racetrack. There are the guys that were walking and talking about what may happen here this weekend and next week at Homestead, battling for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship, and these 2 of those guys trying to make NASCAR history. Well, they've qualified, and how about a little happy hour action coming your way tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern time for the NASCAR Sprint Cup cars. And, of course, it is race number 9 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup coming your way Sunday, 2:30 Eastern time on ABC, presented by Goodyear. NASCAR Nationwide Series action. They had 2 sections of practice today. Carl Edwards quick in 1, Mike Bliss quick in another. Our coverage beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN2. How about crowning a champion NHRA style? Automobile Club of Southern California qualifying and final Sunday at 7 Eastern time on ESPN2. And, of course, NASCAR Now, setting a stage for what will happen here on Sunday. 500 kilometers of racing. What's going to happen in the chase? Can Jimmy Johnson hang on? Can Mark Martin inch a little closer? We'll have all the ideas and thoughts in that pre-race edition of NASCAR Now. Let's go down and visit where David is caught up with David.
That would be with Rudman, who qualified 15th for this flat track race on Sunday. Happy with that? Was that more than you expected, less than you expected in qualifying?
Nah, it wasn't anywhere as close as what we thought we were capable of running. We just Aaron's Dream Machine just didn't have either the car was good and I messed up, or the car wasn't very good. I'm not really sure, but I think we were okay. We were just off some, and as close as the field is, all you have to do is be off a little bit, and you're going to be about 15th. This is where we ended up.
So tomorrow morning, you guys have the practice time. What do you have to go to work on with this car?
Just try to make the thing rotate through the center of the corner and be able to get back to the throttle early and keep the back end underneath it, from the exit. And a lot of stuff you battle a lot of other flat tracks we go to. So Rodney Childers and the guys, Dax Garrett and all those guys, they'll get in there and work on it and make it a lot better. I have no doubt. They always do. And we were just off a little bit in qualifying.
All right. Well, hopefully they can get that right and be great on Sunday, Vince.
Ryan Newman, and he has the track record for fastest qualifying. Didn't get it today, but still pretty solid run. And we were just chatting about, you made your first ever Cup start here at Phoenix in 2000. What do you remember about that day?
Well, it was a lot of pressure, I think, back in that day. I qualified 10th. I remember Bobby Labonte was right inside of me in 9th. My teammate Rusty Wallace won a pole, and Bobby was going for the championship. And it was first and only time I got to race with Dale Earnhardt Sr., so that was one of the things that I most remember about it, because I think that was really cool. But not today for us with the U.S. Army Chevrolet. We didn't have that good a lap and start mid-pack.
Speaking of the U.S. Army Chevrolet, and you're wearing your Stewart-Haas shirt, I know you guys have a big announcement tomorrow, and you've got another logo on your shirt. Is that the announcement we're going to hear about? Is there something you want to, news you want to break here today?
There's news you would like me to break here today, yes. But Tornadoes something that will be announced tomorrow. What they're looking forward to doing with us and Stewart-Haas Racing.
We'll look forward to hearing it officially. Ryan Newman, Doc.
So we got him to squeak a little bit out before the announcement. Good for Ryan. And by the way, yeah, four-time pole sitter and record holder here, Ryan Newman. This is the time of year where there are a lot of announcements made. We expect to see we're having a sponsorship and driver announcement for the 71 car tomorrow. Expecting an announcement sometime in the next week or so for the 1 car. Maybe Jamie McMurray going there, and a big announcement for these guys tomorrow as well. And by the way, it was announced earlier today that the U.S. Army is back for the 39 car here. The NASCAR Sprint Cup action. They'll actually be the full-time sponsor or major sponsor for 15 races in 2010. We'll come back to wrap it up from Phoenix in just a moment. The day may be done for qualifying, but these guys still have a lot of work to do in the NASCAR Sprint Cup garage, trying to get these cars converted over for a happy hour, which you'll be able to see here, our live coverage on Saturday. Now, a lot of guys thinking about, we expected to see maybe Jimmy Johnson or Mark Martin on the front row. Neither are qualified on the front row, so they'll not get probably the best pit spot, which is important here. But let's think about what's going to happen here on Sunday with this points chase.
Well, a lot of that's going to key off the practice sessions tomorrow. Who's got the best car in a long run, and you still expect for Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson to have good cars. I honestly expect the 5 car to be the best car. He's so good at this kind of racetrack and racing here. I think he will be the car to beat, but the practice sessions tomorrow kind of tell the tale.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Johnson and his team are ready for this. They've won here. They know what it's all about. But it's such a tense race. You have close racing all day long. But all you can do is get yourself prepared, your car the best that you can get it, have it in your head that, okay, this is the best that we're going to be, we're ready to go this weekend, and just hope that kind of faith is on your side, that you don't run into something like what happened last weekend. But it's a fun race, but it's a very challenging race for these drivers, and these teams are going to be working extremely hard. Last time they raced here was at night. This is a different racetrack, a different animal during the day.
A great scenario because Jimmy Johnson could actually clinch a championship here on Sunday, but also this guy, Mark Martin, could walk out of here as the points champion. So could Jeff Gordon, for that matter. All that whole scenario will unfold here as our coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern Time Sunday afternoon on ABC. When we asked Mark Martin's crew if they could get it done, they said, absolutely, we can get it done. We think we can beat Jimmy Johnson head-to-head these final 2 races. Coming up tomorrow, live coverage flag to flag of the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and Kyle Busch going for his first major NASCAR championship. If he finishes 7th or better, he will be crowned the Nationwide champion here at Phoenix tomorrow. And of course, Sunday afternoon, it is stop number 9 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Our coverage presented by Goodyear live on ABC beginning at 2:30 Eastern Time. Coming up next, College Football Live. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Once again, congratulations to Martin Truex Jr., our pole sitter here at Phoenix.